Alright, so if you've been watching my channel here on YouTube, you know I do mainly videos about ball pythons, about the breeding and genetics and the husbandry, and every now and then I'll throw in a random video. And today I want to throw in a random video. I actually bought some Muscovy hatching eggs over on eBay, and I hatched them out in my incubator, and I took a short little video every single day as they aged and matured, as they grew up, and it's pretty interesting. Actually, they were supposed to all be black Muscovies, and one of them turned out bright yellow, super bright yellow. I was like, what in the world's going on? And the guy said, oh yeah, it's going to turn black as it ages. And let me tell you, it didn't turn black. It turned an interesting color. It's really pretty, but it definitely is not black. So what I want to do is I want to show you pretty much from the beginning all the way up into where I pretty much had to clip the wings on these birds because I thought they were going to fly away. As a matter of fact, if you don't clip the wings on Muscovies, they will fly away and you'll lose your birds. So you have to keep on top of clipping the wings. I actually started out with some ducks. I bought some khaki Campbell ducks, and everyone's like, no, khaki Campbells won't fly away. And my first batch of khaki Campbells, they all flew away and never came back, and I had to start over with different ducks. And now I have a whole bunch of different ducks and chickens and a bunch of birds out there, but these Muscovies are kind of interesting. I can say they're definitely my biggest birds in my entire flock. So let's jump over and check out all these little video clips from when they hatched all the way until they're adults. Alright, so take a look at this. These are my Muscovy ducks. I have two of them 1 day old, and they're both supposed to be black. And one of them hatched out bright yellow. This is actually from someone else. And then I got these eggs from a different person over on eBay. Some black Muscovy hatching eggs. And look at the difference between them. It's amazing. They're supposed to, the yellow one eventually is supposed to turn completely black. It's really a huge difference between them, but look at how cute they are. Super cute. Alright, so day number 2. Take a look at these. I actually had another one hatch out. This one's like half black and half yellow. I'm getting this whole rainbow of colors, and I've been assured that all these will eventually turn black. It'll be interesting to see how they mature. And one of the things that I've really noticed that's different than ducks is they have some serious claws. I was putting a paper towel in a lot of these, and their claws will get stuck in the paper towel. I actually had the little fake rabbit in here that acts kind of like a surrogate mom, and their claws were getting stuck on that where I couldn't even get them off. So I can't even put paper towels or anything in here. And look at the feet on this one. This one has really interesting, like, colored feet. Really kind of crazy. This one has yellow feet, and this one has black feet. They are really cute at this stage. They're looking really healthy, doing great. Take a look at this duck, 3 days old, and it doesn't even look real. This thing is like glowing so bright. That is probably the cutest duck I've ever seen in my life. Look at that thing. That is really crazy. That is just so intensely bright. It's hard to believe this thing is going to turn black when it grows up. That is a really awesome bird. Alright, so day 3, I ended up with 4 of these. I actually hatched, I was trying to hatch about 15 eggs, and only 4 of them hatched. You know, sometimes in the male, they can be kind of, you know, iffy. They say if you're really lucky with male shipped hatching eggs, you can have like a 50% hatch rate. In this case, I actually ended up with 4, which hopefully I'll actually have 1 male and 1 female. These guys are really prolific. They'll actually raise their own young. So it doesn't really matter how many I have to start with. I should end up with 1 male, 1 female, and they should breed pretty well. Alright, so here they are, 4 days old. Take a look at these guys. These guys are crazy. Look at this one. It's so cute. This one looks like, it's funny, the wings are so small, they almost look like little penguins or something, and they're so different. That one is the brightest, and they have this one that's kind of half and half. Half yellow and half black, and look at how super friendly they are. Not afraid of people at all, which is kind of interesting. And then you have this one, which is almost completely black, a little bit more yellow color right in the chest. Really cute duck, super cute. And then you have this last one here. This is like a super dark black one. It's amazing how different they are from one to the other. All right, so here they are, 5 days old, and they're right across from my other chickens. I got a whole bunch of little baby chickens in there too, so they're kind of checking those chickens out and keeping an eye on those. It almost seems like they want to go in there and kind of merge the flocks together, but I definitely want to keep them separate because these guys are drinking a lot more water than chickens do. You definitely want to separate the water between ducks and chickens. Looking really cute. All right, 6 days old, and they're right next to my chickens over there. I think they really like being right next to the chickens, and they're still looking really cute. Look at how cute that bird is. Pretty amazing. And here's the other one. I think I like this one really good too. This one has some little speckles of yellow all through it. Almost kind of looks like, almost like a mallard duck or something. That is pretty awesome. And these black ones, this is originally what I wanted, was the completely black ones to keep away the predators up here in the mountains of Colorado. So hopefully they'll actually all turn black. I'm thinking these other ones that are really super black will be more black when they finally mature. They are really cool, and they're really super friendly compared to my other ducks and the chickens. They're super, super friendly. All right, here we go, 7 days old, and they're still looking not like they're gonna turn black, which is kind of crazy. Look at this one. I find it hard to believe that this one will actually turn black. Look at how cute that is. That is really amazing. And it seems like they're just naturally a lot more friendlier than my ducks or my chickens. These are definitely different, kind of a different breed. A lot of people think this is kind of a cross between a duck and a goose, and it's supposedly it's supposed to be one of the friendliest birds that there is. Really interesting. Look at this guy going crazy over my finger. All right, 8 days old. And the funny thing about this is I move these ducks over by the water and they come running back to see the little chickens on the other side of the glass. I have some little baby black Australorps over there, and they really want to get in there and kind of hang out with the black Australorps. I think that is pretty funny. And it seems like it's weird. You look at these ducks every day, and then there's certain days where they just have a little growth spurt. And it seems like they went through a little growth spurt, especially this one right here. It seems like he's starting to turn black a little. If you can see a little bit of black right in his tail, which is kind of funny. A little bit on his beak and a little bit right on his eyes, which is kind of interesting. That I almost find it hard to believe that that is actually going to end up as a black duck. That is pretty wild. And these guys are doing great, really super friendly. It's been staying pretty clean, not as dirty as a regular, you know, like a regular duck. They don't drink that much water, which is kind of interesting. And they're not really that scared. If I come up to the tank, they don't really get panicked. All right, so 9 days old, they're getting pretty big. It seems like they're not growing quite as fast as like my Cayuga ducks, but it seems like they're growing maybe a little bit faster than like my black Australorp chickens. They got some pretty good size to them, and they're still, it's kind of interesting on this one, still really yellow. And it's kind of interesting to see kind of the feathers come in on the tail. Still really super cute. It almost looks like a little penguin with those little flappers for wings. Really cute. All right, so 10 days old, and these guys are a little bit stressed out. I actually tried to put them with my ducks. I have some ducks I'm raising up, some black Cayugas, and they're about twice as big as this. They're in a 6-foot round stock tank in the garage, and I tried to put these guys in with the ducks, and let me tell you, the ducks were really beating these guys up just within a couple minutes, and they especially like beating on this poor little guy right here. It seemed like they were really attracted to the yellow, and they just kind of kept slamming him in his poor little head with their beak. So I finally took them out and got them away from those ducks. I only left them in there for a couple minutes just to see if it would work, if I can move them up into a bigger brooder with the ducks, but it looks like I may have to set these guys up in a separate brooder. Poor little guys. All right, 11 days old. I actually moved them to a different little tank here and cleaned out all the all the pine in the bottom. I kept putting more and more pine on the top, and it was getting really thick. They didn't have much headroom in here, so I moved them over, and I think they'll probably be okay in here for a little while longer. It's a pretty big tank that they still have. I moved my other little chickens that were right next to them over to a bigger brooder out in my garage. So these guys are pretty much all alone out here, still looking really good. All right, 12 days old. It seems like overnight they went through this growth spurt, and it seems like it's kind of weird with these ducks and these chickens. It seems like every now and then they go through like a big growth spurt to where it's like all of a sudden in one day they look a lot bigger. I don't know if it's just me or if they do actually go through these growth spurts. It's kind of wild, and they're really still pretty super friendly. They tend to bite a little bit harder than ducks. Sometimes it can kind of hurt when these guys bite you compared to a duck, but they're still doing great. I'm thinking, oh, it's like a little too hard of a bite there on these ducks. It is kind of crazy. So, and I'm actually thinking maybe I could keep these guys in here maybe another week or so, and they're gonna definitely outgrow this. They're doing pretty good. Still have some room in here, but it's looking pretty good for just 4. If I had more of them, I'd definitely have to move them out. They're getting a little bit more messy than they were before. All right, 13 days old, and I'm starting to think that these guys are starting to outgrow this little aquarium. I definitely need to move them into something bigger, but they are really, it seemed like overnight they had another growth spurt. Look at how big this yellow one is. He is pretty big, and it's amazing, these compared to my black cayuga ducks. It seems like my cayuga ducks grow a lot faster than these. These guys are a lot slower growing, which is pretty amazing. All right, 15 days old. Look at these guys. They're getting kind of long and lanky compared to all my other ducks. That is kind of weird. Especially this one here. Look at how long he is. That is crazy. And they are super friendly. I can actually walk right in here in this little stock tank that I have them in, and they don't run at all. They come right up to me. It's pretty amazing how tame they are. Really wild. All right, take a look at these guys, 16 days old. It seems like overnight they went through a growth spurt. It's weird with these birds. It seems like every now and then you get this really big growth spurt. And look at this one. He is just, I can't believe how big he is. That is pretty crazy. And the thing about these guys is they bite a lot harder than ducks. It almost hurts a little bit. They bite you so hard. And then their claws are super razor sharp. I can't even put them like on paper towels or any kind of fabric. Their claws get all hung up in it, and they scratch really bad, and you can't really even put them in your, you can't even, you like hold them in your lap because their claws get stuck in all your, like your jeans and your shirt and everything. It's kind of weird how their claws are just super sharp. All right, 17 days old. These guys are getting pretty big. Take a look at this. This guy is really pretty big and beefy and super friendly. Look, he just kind of relaxes right in my hand. That is kind of crazy. All right, 18 days old. These guys are doing fantastic. Look at how big this one's getting. It's getting really big. I can't believe how big he is for just being 18 days old. Look at how friendly he is too. It's funny when they're small, they almost look like little penguins with the little wings in the back. So funny. All right, 19 days old. And take a look at the tail on this one. This one is supposed to turn black, and I didn't think it would. It was so bright yellow when it was born, and sure enough, it's actually starting to turn black. And I was trying to figure out the males and the females. I'm thinking maybe this is a male with a really long tail feather, and I'm thinking maybe all the other 3 are females. It's kind of hard to tell at this point. I'm not really very skilled in determining males and females on this particular type of bird. Look at that. These guys are really super cute. Not quite ready to go outside yet. All right, 20 days old, looking pretty good. They've got plenty of room in here still. This This is a 6-foot round stock tank, so I think they could stay in here for maybe another week or so, but they are really getting big really fast. All right, 21 days, 3 weeks exactly. Looking pretty good for 3 weeks. They're getting pretty big. This guy is still pretty bright yellow. It's pretty amazing. I thought he'd be a lot darker by now. And look how big he is. See if I can pick him up. See how friendly he is. Pretty friendly. Not too bad. Ooh, he's got some really sharp claws. That is pretty crazy. And the other ones, this is originally what I wanted, was these really dark black ones so the hawks wouldn't get them. So I'm not, I'm actually waiting until this one turns black before I put them outside, because I put them outside and I have this yellow one out there with the hawks. Let me tell you, that bird will not last 2 minutes. He definitely has to turn black. All right, day number 22. I had to add another feeder because these guys are really starting to plow through some food, and they're getting pretty big. Come here, chickies. Look at that. They come right up to me. Super friendly. Look at that. I almost got them trained to come right to me. I can almost train them to do some tricks. I don't know if you can train birds to do tricks like this, but it's kind of interesting. All right, day 23, looking pretty good. It's interesting that yellow one's starting to get little black spots right where the feathers are. Kind of interesting how he's changing colors like that. I would have never thought that the yellow one would turn black. Pretty amazing birds, and still really super friendly. All right, day 24 on these guys, and the funny thing is this one was so cute. I was gonna pick him up and bring him inside to show the family. I thought, oh, I could just pick him up and it'll be no problem. And believe it or not, this guy has really sharp claws. I picked him up with my bare hands and I put him down right away, and I was bleeding all over the place. These guys have razor sharp claws on the bottom of their feet. Pretty incredible. All right, day 25, and I let these guys outside with my other ducks, and it seems like, I don't know who's the boss. It seems like they want to kind of run with my other ducks, but they're kind of freaking them out. I don't know if we're going to have any aggression picking on the other ducks, or, they're kind of, I don't know, they're small enough to where I think they might get along pretty well with all my other ducks, and they're kind of trying to work it out. I actually penned them up in a separate pen last night and separated them so they can see each other through the pen but not really get to each other, and this is the first time they're really interacting, so it looks like they're going to do pretty good with all my other ducks. All right, so day 26, this is where I've been keeping them at night. I've been keeping them in my other flock, but at night I've been penning them up in this little, it's kind of like a dog kennel in here. And I've been keeping them away from the other ducks. They don't get beat up or anything like that. They're doing really good, getting pretty big. I just kind of want to transition them little by little over to the rest of the flock by kind of penning them up at night, and then I let them out during the day. All right, day 27, these guys are getting bigger and they're still kind of cooped up here. It's funny, I opened up the coop and they just kind of stay in here. Take a look at this. They are really comfortable in here in this chicken coop. All right, day 28, look at how big these guys are getting, pretty big. And they're still pretty friendly. I haven't really tamed them down as much as my other ducks, but they seem like they're naturally more friendly than the other ones. Pretty amazing. All right, look at all these ducks. This is day 29 on these 4 smaller ducks and all my bigger ducks. Look at them. They kind of get picked on a little bit in here. That's why I kind of pen them up separately, but they're doing pretty good. Not too bad. Oh no. Poor little babies. All right, day 30. Take a look at this yellow one. How much black he's starting to get on his wings. Pretty awesome. He's finally trying to turn to a darker color, which he really needs out here. There's a lot of hawks and stuff that have been flying over. They kind of freak me out. And then the other 2 over here. Actually, I have 3 darker ones over here, but these 2, they look like they're a little bit bigger than the other ones, and they're super friendly. Take a look at these guys. Still doing really good with this flock. Getting a little bit of their final feathers in. Getting a little, kind of a little frizzy on the chest. Take a look at that. That is pretty wild. All right, day 31. Take a look at these guys, getting pretty big. These guys are weird. They just kind of hang out in the back, in the middle of nowhere, kind of away from the rest of the flock. They kind of do their own thing. It's kind of interesting that they're completely just separate from the other ducks, and most of the times they're just kind of sitting around, laying around, not really doing anything. The chickens are out like scratching in the ground. The ducks are playing in the water, and these guys are just kind of hanging out here in the little chicken coop. Kind of interesting. Oh, things are getting a little frisky here in the barnyard. This is day 32 for these guys. And the yellow one's starting to turn a little bit. And then we have 3 over here that are looking pretty good. Starting to feather out pretty good. Nice dark. So many ducks and chickens out here. It's unbelievable. All right, day 33 on my Muscovies. Take a look at these guys, doing pretty good, mixing with the flock pretty well. And look at how much color that yellow one's getting. Quite a bit of black feathers coming in, which is pretty awesome. All right, day 34. These guys are doing great. It's funny, they're in here in this little chicken coop underneath this heat lamp, just kind of hanging out, warming up. And it's funny, they just kind of stay separate from all the other birds, just kind of hanging out. Look at how dark this one's getting, even on the face, starting to turn black. It's amazing as a chick, this thing was so bright yellow. It's pretty amazing what a transformation this thing is going through. All right, day 35. Look at that water. I changed it like 20 minutes ago, and they already completely got it completely muddy. These ducks are so dirty. And look at this guy, how fast he's changing into kind of a black. Let me tell you, the other ducks keep him on his toes. All right, day 36. These guys are getting pretty big. Just still kind of hanging out. All the other chickens and ducks are running around. These guys, they're just so mellow. It's funny, they just kind of sit there and hang out, looking pretty good. All right, day 37, my chillest birds in all my birds. I have so many birds out here, and these guys are just kind of hanging out. The mellowest birds that I have, looking really good. Look at how dark that one's getting, pretty amazing. Seems like every day he's changing, getting a little bit darker. All right, day 38. It's interesting how these guys are really starting to change as far as their appearance. They're getting kind of that greenish tinge on their wings like all my other birds. It's funny, all my birds are black with that greenish tinge. And then their faces are really looking interesting. They kind of get that kind of like a comb all over their face when they age and mature. It's kind of interesting. All right, day 39. These guys are like back away from all the other birds. They're like, we don't want to mess with the other birds. We want to just hang out here, back in the back. Look at these guys. They're really starting to get a lot of their permanent feathers in, looking really good. All right, day 40. These guys are doing great. Kind of getting chased around a little by the ducks. All right, day 41. They're really getting kind of shaggy, kind of halfway between their small, younger feathers and their fully mature adult feathers. It's funny, they kind of go through this transition where they look really cute and fluffy when they're young, and then they go through this really ragtag, kind of a shaggy appearance before they finally get their final adult appearance. All right, day 42. Look at the transformation that this guy's going through. Quite a bit of black coming out on his wings and all over his body. Kind of interesting. These guys are doing great too. All right, day 43. The funny thing is I just opened up all the fencing in here and let everyone run around the barnyard. And these guys come back in here and they're just kind of hanging out. It is so funny. They're like completely opposite of all my other birds, and they hang out in a completely separate spot. And most of the times they don't even hardly move around at all. They just kind of sit there. That's probably why they're really good moms, just sitting on the eggs all day, because they're normally just sitting around even without the eggs, just kind of hanging out. They're getting pretty big too. It's pretty amazing. All right, day 44, and we got one lone Muscovy out here, away from the rest of the flock. I don't know where the rest of them are. I think they're hiding in the back. That's pretty funny. But look at this one, how it's really changing. It seems like every day I look at this guy, it really changes color. It's pretty crazy looking. All right, day 45. Look at how these guys are really changing and transforming. Pretty awesome, getting really big. All right, day 46. Look at how they're glowing in the sun. Pretty amazing how they have that iridescent sheen to them. These black ones especially, and they're super friendly. They're actually getting like a coppery color on their chest, which is kind of interesting. And they walk kind of funny, they kind of waddle. All right, day 47. Look at these guys. They're actually pretty friendly if I can actually get up to them and touch them. It seems like they're not too skittish. And if I get up real close, they'll actually let me kind of touch them. They are super quiet compared to the other ducks. They just kind of hang out here all by themselves, really quiet, mellow, just kind of hanging out. And look at how their feathers are growing. Pretty awesome. All right, day 48, and the bigger black ones are starting to look just like my Cayuga ducks. I'm pretty much almost confusing one with the other. They're getting pretty big. All right, day 49. I actually expanded these guys. They have some weeds over here and a lot more room. Take a look at this. Actually, I had so many birds in that little area, and I actually expanded it all the way over here. Had a bunch of fencing and some poles and everything else back in the back, and I kind of threw some really low-tech fencing up. So this is what I have. Sometimes what I did is I just put up some chicken wire right here and used some landscaping staples and stapled it to the ground right here. So they have all this all in here, quite a lot of room over here, in addition to what they already had. So I had so many birds that were just getting so crammed in there, and they have a lot of protection back in here Take a look at this. If you actually come all the way back through here, they can come through this little thing. They can hide from the hawks back here, which is pretty cool. And everything is pretty well secure. And then of course, this is the little area that they were normally in. Kind of goes all the way around here. Then you have the wet duck area right over here. And then their little coop at night. Quite a bit of room for those birds. All right, day 50. And look at this. This almost looks like one of my Cayuga ducks, but it's actually one of my Muscovy ducks. Take a look at that. They are really close in appearance. These guys are really awesome. Take a look at how bright green they're getting. They kind of waddle. That's pretty funny. All right, day 51. Look at all these birds. I think they all got dive bombed by a hawk and they all came running in here. Poor little babies. Look at how they're really changing. Really looking good. Usually they don't crowd together. This is kind of crazy. All these birds in this little spot. All right, day 52. Look at how these are really changing. As a matter of fact, this one's turning more brown than I thought it was going to be. The guy that sold me these eggs said they'd start out bright yellow and turn black. And so far it looks like it's turning pretty brown. This almost seems like a different version over here. The ones I bought from these guys, you know, he said they were some of the blackest ones. This is essentially what I was looking for, some of these really super black ones. Pretty awesome. All right, day 53. I found out these guys love watermelon rinds. Absolutely devour them like crazy. And I think we have some company coming through. What are these guys doing? Look at them, they're all running through. I don't know where they're going. That is pretty funny. All right, day 54. They still have a little bit of, seems like right on their head they have a little bit of the kind of the baby down on their head. Like they're not completely feathered. They're pretty close, almost completely feathered out. All right, day 55. There's so many birds in here, it's pretty amazing. Look at this white one, kind of getting a little bit of a checkered pattern, which is pretty awesome. As a matter of fact, I let them out this morning and they came out of there kind of having kind of cooped up in my bear-proof chicken coop. And they were flapping their wings like I thought they were gonna start flying and take off. So I'm getting to the point where I think I may have to clip some wings on these guys. All right, day 56. These guys are just chilling out. Letting the rest of the world just go by. They're just kind of hanging out. All right, day 57. These guys have a funny waddle when they walk. It's almost like their feet are too big or something. It's pretty funny. All right, day 58. These guys came all the way over here on the other side of the pen, trying to get away from all the other birds, I think. Look at that. As a matter of fact, I thought this one was going to turn more black. Doesn't look like it's going to turn that black. It looks like it's going to be more of a kind of a brownish color. All right, day 59, looking pretty good. Look at how they glow like almost a bright green in the sun. That's pretty awesome. And they're pretty much completely feathered out, maybe a little bit of kind of the baby fuzz on top of a couple of the black ones. Looking pretty good. All right, so day 60. Take a look at these guys. I think they're pretty much full size, and I can definitely tell which ones are the males and which ones are the females. The males are almost twice as big as the females, and these two right here, I'm pretty sure these guys are 2 males. And then I have one female that's the blackish green, and then the other one over here that's still, I thought I was gonna turn more of a darker color than this. I guess she's gonna end up kind of like a freckly, kind of a chocolate color instead of black. I was actually shooting for blacks, but that is pretty much it. I think this is pretty much full size for these guys.